sister's side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances. Finessing on them with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan with my accountant lips. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo-babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. I know that it's good. Won't you sit it on my taste buds? I get way too petty once you let me do the extras. Pull up on your block and break it down. We playing Tetris. AM to the PM, PM to the AM phone. Eat up your per diem. You just gotta hate them phone. If I quit your BM, I still rock Mercedes phone. If I quit this season, I still be the greatest funk. My left stroke just went viral. Right stroke put a baby in a spiral. Soprano C, we like to keep it on the high note. It's levels to it, you and I know. Tell them be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
Welcome in. Happy Monday. You are locked in with Joel Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. And tonight, first up, you know Andy's always on theme. Let me see if you can catch the theme as I roll out tonight's topic. First up, somebody got booked for the wrong room. We're going to talk about it. Somebody else clearly doesn't have a firm grasp on history. And King James done hurt Memphis's feelings. Oh my God. And of course, Kanye is out here causing confusion on the internet. What's new? What's that? We're going to get into all of that. Listen, Trick Daddy has the AKAs clutching their pearls, literally. Those details coming soon. Jake Paul is floating the idea that he has a new idea for a comedy sketch. We'll get into it. And, LeBron saying the Grizzlies should head to Nashville has got a lot of people upset. Very angry. But, before we get into the night's topics, I have to start the night off with a couple of conversation starters because, facts, context, culture. That's how we get down over here. First up, before we get messy, salute to Candace Parker because first ballot greatness is greatness. Candace is headed to the Hall of Fame, and honestly, that part was never a question, right? Congratulations to the 3-time WNBA champion, 2-time WNBA MVP, 7-time WNBA All-Star, Miss Candace Parker. Legacy on legacy. Candace's resume speaks for itself. She's already fluent in Hall of Fame, championships, MVPs, multi-dominant era, and the baby hairs. I know we don't see them anymore, but the baby hairs. Candace Parker dunking, in that McDonald's All-American Classic game when she was in high school. Listen. It put the mark up. We talk about Angel Reese and Caitlin, Maya, and all of these individuals, but you got to put Candace up there. And oh, by the way, she was a spark continuing the tradition of LA women's basketball. Andy, you already know.
One more ring, more than the Clippers. The real CP3.
The real CP3. Shout out to Chris Paul, though. That's my Taurus brother. Candace's value has never been only in numbers. She helped normalize the image of the modern WNBA superstar as an athlete, an analyst, a mom, a brand, and a basketball mind all at once. So, big ups to CP3. You can catch her now. Is it on Prime or NBC? It's NBC, right?
Prime.
It is Prime.
Well, she's all over the place, honestly, though. I saw her on TNT. Well, TNT doesn't exist no more. But,
TNT College, she was there during the, during the thing. And big ups to her because she says it's always up. It's always beef with Gino because her college coach, Pat Summit, had beef with him too. Now, speaking of Gino, first of all, big ups to UCLA women's basketball team.
Hold on, for real?
What?
You better give it a little bit more pomp and circumstance, homie. This the hometown, homie.
It is the
UCLA,
home team.
homie.
Big ups, 8 clap. I think it's 8 clap. It's their first title. Is it their first? It's not their first. It is?
Women's.
I mean, I know it's their first women's.
Their first
Wow.
women's title, yep.
Well, salute to that, you know? I mean, listen, big ups to the home team. Although it's bittersweet because they beat my women's college team of record. I support Dawn Stanley wherever and whatever
I'm with
she
you.
does.
I'm with you.
Right? And speaking of Dawn Stanley, listen, we might get into this a little bit more later, but the internet is still not done with Gino. I do not know how to pronounce his last name. I always jack it up. Ariema. Thank you, Andy. And after that post-game moment with Dawn, where you get in her face and she has to say, I'll beat your A, Gino. We all got her back, right? The replay belongs to the people. You know, seemingly he was upset. He said Dawn didn't address him pre-game. That was a lie. Dawn always greets everyone. He was just mad because they got their butt whooped by SC with Dawn in the lead, and he was a little embarrassed, right? He's never going to be able to live that down. So if you're living under a rock and you didn't see the heated exchange between the two women's basketball head coaches during the Final Four round, it was highly inappropriate. Gino did end up trying to walk it back and apologize later. Dawn said she wasn't going to let it distract her for what she and her players had to do. Alas, they ran into the UCLA wall. However, Dawn showed how you handle things with grace, class, the epitome of a leader. Andy?
You know what Gino busted?
What?
He busted a Drake.
Well, there you have it. Listen, it was a lot, right? But like I said, big ups to all the women. We know that the men's Final Four is taking place right now. I mean, Final Four championship game is taking place right now. Andy, do you have a pick?
I wanted Arizona. Obviously, I wanted UCLA, but we lost in like the second round or whatnot. But I was pulling for Arizona. I had them winning it all, but they lost to Michigan. I'm just down for a good game. I rock with UConn. I rock with Michigan. Those are two solid teams. I just want to see a good game.
All right, big up to Michigan. I think I'm going to roll with Michigan just because, you know, just because. All right, listen.
Fab Five.
Fab Five, yeah, all of that, you know. My homie was, I don't know if he's still coaching there, but he was a coach under Juwan Howard as the head coach there. So, you know, a little reason to cheer. All right, when we come forward, we're going to get into Trick Daddy, LeBron, Kanye, and Jake Paul. You don't want to miss this. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? Let's go.
You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 connecting you with services and solutions. The midterm elections are upon us. It is voting season once again. Common Cause's motto is fighting for the democracy we deserve. In service of that goal, Common Cause puts its state and national policy expertise, massive network of grassroots supporters, and nonpartisan approach into action to strengthen our democracy against the challenges we face today. They work at every level of government on priorities that impact each of our lives, like defending the right to vote, limiting big money's influence on our elections, holding public officials accountable, and more. Common Cause is a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to upholding the core values of American democracy. They seek to empower all people to make their voices heard in the political process. This election may be the most important one ever. If you'd like to make a donation or volunteer in service to the Constitution, please visit commoncause.org. That's commoncause.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Now back to more entertainment news with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
We're going to let the band deal with this. In my A style. Old school. Okay, shut up. Okay, what's up? Shut up. Okay, what's up? Okay, shut up. Okay, they what's up? Shut up. Okay, what's up? Right around in my brand new 99 photo Volvo. I got a pocket full of bees. Ain't got no place to go though, but all my boys.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Maybe Trick Daddy should have. Shut up. All right, listen, if you want to get in on this conversation, 800-920-1580. Of course, you can hit us up on social media, KBLA 1580. I'm at Stiletto Jill everywhere, or get the visual to go along with this audio experience. Hop into the YouTube chat with the VIPs. Get it started. All right, so listen. One thing I forgot to add while I was on the conversation starter is big ups to Angel Reese. She was traded from the Chicago Sky, to the Atlanta Dream, and people kind of knew something was up at the end of last season because she had a lot of critiques for her first-year head coach, some of her teammates, and some people felt that when the Sky moved up in the draft to draft Angel couple years back, they overpaid, and now we're seeing the results of that. But I think a new environment will be good for Angel. She's had 2 head coaches battling from the bottom. The Dream have a nice backcourt that should pair well with her game. We'll see what's up.
I mean, she's balling in ATL. So I think for the culture, marketing-wise, that's going to be super great for Angel Reese.
I think so, too. Big ups to Angel. All right, now, listen. Trick Daddy had the AKA ladies clutching their pearls and skiing out of the building. I am not sure if you heard about what happened, right? This lead story is the lead because it's funny, messy, and actually says something a little bit about event culture, right? So Trick Daddy was booked for an AKA regional conference. His set was cut short, and the whole thing turned into a live-action case study on what happens when the act, the audience, and the expectations aren't exactly on the same page, right? Now, we know legacy organizations sometimes take knocks because they are very steeped in tradition. They don't necessarily color outside of the lines all the time, right? And sometimes they become at odds with their membership, right? So I am unclear why the sorority of Alpha Kappa Alpha decided that They wanted Trick Daddy to be involved in their Southwestern Conference, I believe it was. But obviously, somebody must not have been clear on a Trick Daddy live performance on the set list. You know what I'm saying? So basically, the organizer said that his set was cut short because it did not align with agreed upon guidelines. The Miami rapper performed, it was the South Atlantic, Regional Conference, which brought members together for several days of programming focused on leadership, networking, and community engagement. But the performance quickly drew a reaction from attendees. Videos circulated online. I saw one guy who happened to be there with his mom. He was like, these are 60-year-old women in here. They getting up and leaving, right? And Trick Daddy performed his songs. Now, if you know Trick Daddy's catalog, I don't kind of understand what the thought process was here, but they did. But there was a moment when I kind of think maybe Trick Daddy should have self-edited, right? Maybe. He told the women to raise their hand if they wanted their kitty eaten. By who, Trick Daddy? Ew, not you. I don't know. Here's the flip side of this, right? Trick Daddy came out and said that there were no guidelines given to him, that his set is his set, and that's what he's going to show up and do. The other side of this coin is that Luther Campbell, that's Luke, y'all, also performed, and his set was not disrupted. I'm assuming he kept the profanity and lewd language maybe to a minimum, right? But Trick Daddy is saying that they are calling him a liar and he's not having it, right? A statement that was shared by regional leadership, Tiffany Moore Russell, said the organization communicated expectations in advance. We met several times with him and his team to detail our requirements, including attire, language, and specific songs. She said, unfortunately, our requirements were ignored. She also added that the performance was ended for what she described as disrespect for our organization and our brand. That's the stuff about the kitty eating and what have you. So Trick Daddy said that they're lie, right? He said, you can't give me no playlist. This ain't your wedding. He also added that his performance reflected the music that he is known for. And in addressing the criticism, he said directly, do not use me to save face. I ain't the one. Obviously, the moment has sparked a lot of conversation about expectations, audience alignment, and how artists are booked for events with specific branding and tone. Now, obviously, the AKA membership goes from college age until, 70s, 80s, what have you. But I think in an effort to get younger or bring more energy, you got to read the room. Maybe try a rapper like Wale. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Somebody who is not going to be profane and sexually explicit. If there are certain songs that he is known for that you know are part of his set that aren't going to align with your values, you probably shouldn't even venture into that territory. Now, it remains to be seen who's telling the truth about were their expectations set out to begin with. I would think so. But then I also could see Trick saying, if they've given him some, I'm not doing it. What's up, Andy?
I don't know if you mentioned this. If you did, I apologize. But were they performing in Miami?
Orlando.
Okay. All right. It was Florida, so I get it. They were trying to find Florida artists or whatnot.
I mean, listen, the part that matters most in the AKA statement is that they say the requirements were discussed in advance, including, like I mentioned, attire, language, all of those things. That means it was just not the crowd that was offended, right? That means that they were thinking about their sponsors too. So their position is that they were clear and were ignored. And Trick Daddy is basically like, my catalog is my catalog and you knew who you booked, right? Both of them are right. But I feel like Trick, although he did it, he's right. You know his catalog. I don't know. Listen, Do you feel respectability politics has a place in events? Are there certain events or spaces that, no matter the nostalgia, the fun that can come from it, just should not be brought in to the mix? I kind of feel yes. Pretty Brown Mimi says Luther Campbell is running for Congress, so now he is a Boy Scout. I mean, yeah. But here is the thing, right? Even of that, like, even if you're like Doo-Doo Brown, which technically doesn't have, I mean, it does kind of, but it doesn't. I guess they can say that's the old Trick Daddy. Maybe they were popping it to Doo-Doo Brown when they were 30. I'm not sure. Andy?
Can't folks, like, eventually evolve and grow?
They can. But I guess the question is, when you're booking an act like that, are you booking the old them or the evolved them? I'm thinking if you're hitting for nostalgia, generally, did they take Nan off the list? I'm sure they did. I don't know. Urban Spinster says, can you help me get Tank to perform at a Delta convention? I mean, I can ask what the check looked like. I can certainly pass the message on. DM me. We'll talk about it. Listen, head, and more head. Now, come on. You were right. This is what I'm saying, but somehow they weren't offended by Luke's performance. Now, I only saw a little snippet of it. It wasn't as gratuitous as Trick Daddy was. But again, like mentioned, Luke is running for public office, so he's probably thinking a bit more inclusive in his thoughts and in his performance, things like that. EA Sports says hiring Trick and Luther Campbell for a women's leadership conference is insane in the membrane. Gigi Sweet says, Captain D coming. Listen, Andy.
If it was Tyrese or Tank saying that, it wouldn't have been no problem. Huh?
Here's the thing. I feel like, and I stand by this really, you can get away with saying what you want. It is how you say it. So maybe, right, I don't think that Tyrese or Tank, even though they are sexual, are lewd. And I think that there is a difference between how you present certain things. And, maybe Trick Daddy, if he had said kitty like I did, I don't know. Maybe if he poised it a different way, maybe they wouldn't have been offended. But I think you have to consider also the way that some of these things are being presented. Morris Phillips says somebody in the audience might have appreciated Trick's offer to eat it. Not with that dental. I'm just, listen, you're right. Somebody may have generally appreciated it. But I don't know. All right, listen. Royal Jenkins says Florida is a very conservative state. It is, and yet it is the home of Luther Campbell and Trick Daddy. So there you go, right? I just think that the organizers on the AKA side, they book the name, the era, the nostalgia, the energy, but then try to edit the very thing that makes the artist who they are. So for me, I think that it should be more forward thoughts on the booking end. I can't be mad at Trick Daddy for doing what Trick Daddy does. It doesn't make sense to me to do that. Andy?
It's just a lot of lazy booking, right? Then we have an issue with I forgot what artist this was, but I feel like it was the same thing. I want to say it was Megan Thee Stallion, I guess. That's the
when
first thing
people
that
were
could pop up
upset
in my head.
at when she was at the a couple of years ago at the DNC.
Yeah, and I want to say it was another artist that performed some stuff that was questionable or whatnot. But I just feel like it's like lazy booking. Like, do you guys, when you guys book artists, entertainers, I want to say Ice Spice maybe it was a situation. I'm not too sure, but it's just lazy booking. You know you got a Trick Daddy. You know what type. You know the content of his music.
Right.
Like, come on now. Be more responsible.
I have to agree. I mean, it's just like, what is the conversation about? You're booking a, R-rated, do we even use those terms? X-rated rapper, and then you're clutching your pearls. Like, if it had been an event for, what do they call, pro fights? Is that what the young ones are called? Something like that. Then that might have been different. Fahima in the chat says Queen Latifah would have been more appropriate. Probably. Does Latifah even perform anymore? I mean, there could have been other rappers that might have acquiesced to their requirements, that have more. I just don't understand inviting a ratchet rapper and getting upset when said rapper does ratchet things. Seems Neos. Okay, not pro fights, Neos. Okay. Thank you, Urban Spencer. Shout out to the Deltas. That's Urban Spencer is a member of their sorority. We are talking about AKAs right now, but I just wanted to shout her out because it's all a sisterhood, right? Right. Listen, when we come forward, we are going to get into Jake Paul's response to Druski's skit on conservative women. He has a question for the room, and we're going to attempt to dig through it. Oh, Latifah's a Delta, so I guess she could not have performed at the AKA thing. All right, when we come forward, we're going to get into Jake Paul and his question, is it okay if I do blackface?
Who run up in your eyes? Put my tongue off in your mouth. Turn you and your mom's like, girl, you don't know nan. Who fall off in the club? Free drinks for the show some love. Pay the ball for the thugs. Girl, you don't know nan. Who make more figure than me? Who do more iller than me? And way more top biller than me? Girl, you don't know nan. No, girl, you don't know nan. No, girl, you don't know nan. That dress fresher than me. And you don't know nan. That way more polo gear than me, girl. You don't know nan. Who do more freak stuff?
You're in the know with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore is warning the U.S. could be heading into another, quote, forever war, end quote, as the conflict in Iran continues.
And so I feel like we are lurching into another one of these forever wars.
Speaking on CBS's Face the Nation, Moore compared it to Afghanistan and raised concerns about the long-term cost as the war enters its sixth week. The family of former Miss North Carolina Carrie Everett is mourning her death after a battle with stomach cancer. Everett, who was black, died at 22 on Easter Sunday. She made history as one of the few black women to win the title and was also a student at North Carolina Central University. And the Artemis II crew was set to fly by the moon, coming within about 4,000 miles of the surface as they capture images and conduct research. The mission includes black pilot Victor Glover, the first person of color to take part in a lunar mission. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Slow in Santa Monica, East 10, away from Centinela, all the way to the 110 in downtown. Also, Sherman Oaks, South 101, delays from Van Nuys Boulevard to the 170, 134 split. Hollywood from Sunset Boulevard into downtown Los Angeles. Also, we're looking at Burbank on the 134 eastbound. That's slow moving away from Buena Vista as you continue all the way to Glendale Avenue in Glendale. And it's also tough in Corona, South 15. That drive is crowding up southbound from the 91 to Wyrick Road.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A couple of impressive notes from the national championship for the UCLA women's basketball team. In their final 4 games against Texas and South Carolina, UCLA never trailed in either game. The Bruins held Texas 40 points below their scoring average and kept South Carolina 28 points below their scoring average. The Bruins are only the second women's basketball team in the Big Ten Conference to win the national title. Purdue did it in 1999. UCLA coach Corey Close and her staff will face a very tough rebuilding challenge in the offseason. Close is losing 8 seniors. 6 of the seniors were her best players. Lauren Betts, Kiki Rice, Gabriella Jaquez, Angela Dugalick, Gianna Neekins, and Cherise Lega-Walker. Close also does not have any recruits coming in that are listed on ESPN's Top 100 list for 2026. The Bruins are going to need some significant help from the NCAA transfer portal. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
At the tone, please record your message.
You ready?
Drop it! Mr. Tavis Smiley, preach it. Thank you, man. Politics in this country is crazy. You put things in perspective that even I didn't. The right is playing fast and loose with facts and scapegoating everyone under the sun, especially black and brown people. As a white man, I do not agree with this, and I am on my black and brown brothers and sisters' side. Fight the good fight. Know that I am part of the resistance. Let's fight the power.
Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
58 years ago, a bullet tried to silence a dream. It couldn't. On April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was taken from us. Not because he failed, but because he was winning. Winning the fight for a nation determined to live up to its promise. That fight didn't end then, and it can't end now. California is the most powerful state and the most powerful country on earth. But right now, too many people are being left behind, priced out of their homes, locked out of opportunity, told to wait for justice that's already long overdue. Dr. King didn't wait. He taught us the fierce urgency of now and acted. Now it's up to us to carry that same urgency today. We need leaders who will fight the triple evils of poverty, racism, and militarism. Not someday, now. On this anniversary, let's honor Dr. King the only way that truly counts, by doing the work. Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm just riding, siding. Let's take a little trip. CMG and K, and we fist to make a grip. Coming straight from out the O, so you know that we got the funky track that's fat. But anyway, it's my turn, so let me introduce special one first up from the gangster crew, known as CCD, with the title and the rep. It's quite apparent. Serving funky hits to keep your punk tricks staring. Pump it up, Mac hits for your ears. Kicking loud and clear, making one disappear. Hitting donuts in a tray sideways. To the next like triple gold things and the kids tight. 5 deep mobbing through in the town. Deuce tone gangster flake with the top down. Damn, the hits hitting hard in the truck. Got me 3 wheels switching on them. Is on the next block. Headed straight to the top. And as long as my skills pay the bills, I'ma never stop. Kicking them hits you love. Pass the dank and a drink for the buzz. It's a ghetto thing, so I bring
That's
the
how you
ghetto
feel,
swing.
Andy.
Like the cane
That's
when
how
I
you
do my
feel.
thing. 5 real G's mobbing on a mission. Check it, it's the funky expedition that we call a little something to ride to.
Big up to Conscious Daughters from the Bay Area. Funky Expedition. You know we're going to give you the real West Coast here. All right, listen. Speaking of funky expeditions, Jake Paul, you know, the YouTuber, influencer, streamer turned boxer. He gets a lot of attention. He gets the people going, right? Well, listen. He is catching heat after he casually floated the idea of doing a blackface in response to Druski's viral skit. So this is one of those problems where the problem starts with a person thinking that all attention is creativity. Now, there is a conversation to be had if you're open and willing to have it. But let's start with what Jake Paul said when he was on Theo Von's podcast.
I want to ask you something because I've been, over the last couple of days, calling makeup artists, and I was going to do a response to this and like go and do like the full on
darker.
Yeah. And do it and just do it back, because why not?
Yeah.
Like, are we on the same playing field? Like,
I think if there's a way to do it, singing in well, even this sentence. But if there's a way to do it, I've been here many times. If there's a way to do it, I think, yeah. I think there needs to be some black support for the character, I think. Like I'm saying, like say if Druski or I'm trying to think of somebody else.
Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. If you got one of those guys to be like, hey, Theo, I want you to do this skit with me. Let's do this.
But still, that's no.
You think it is?
Yeah.
To me, there's a level of like,
doesn't that make us more like prejudice?
Like more prejudice?
That makes us, if we have to partner with someone. Druski just dropped this.
And he's done it a couple of times,
exactly. I love it. This is great. This is how humans should be.
I agree.
We should make fun of each other. And I don't see in color, I see in truth and comedy. So, like, what are we talking about?
So you're saying
what era are we living in?
Dude, Justin Trudeau did, and he's freaking dating Katy Perry. You see that, Justin Trudeau, the mayor of freaking Canada?
I was just with them. I was just with them.
No, you were not.
Yeah, at the JP Morgan summit.
He was B-face, and look at him right there in the middle. Look at the one in the hat in the middle.
He got caught for this before?
Yeah, look how dark he went. I mean, he went.
But to be fair, that picture's in black and white, so we can't tell how dark he went.
But that's fair. That's kind of fair. What about Jimmy Kimmel when he was blacking around over there? Bring that up, huh? Hey, look at him just blacking. I mean, look at that. Even the cross eyes.
That's Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
That's not Shaq.
That ain't Shaq, dude.
So, and Urban Spencer brought this up in the chat. The Jimmy Kimmel reference is that Jimmy, during his SNL days, did a character in impersonation. Sorry, I had to slow it down. My tongue was tripping. An impersonation of Shaq, and he did it complete with a bald cap, and black skin, right? I don't think that he meant it to be, and by him, I'm talking Jimmy, to be disrespectful. Think he was doing comedy. However, right, obviously we had the film White Chicks. If you remember back in the day on SNL, they painted Eddie Murphy white with a blonde wig and blue contacts and sent him outside into the world. But there is no precedence, right, of whiteface disenfranchising white people, right? Because that's what we're looking at. I think comedy is supposed to be the space where we can work these things out. However, with blackface, there are decades and decades and hundreds of years of hurtful representation utilizing this. You could think Al Jolson, you could think Amos and Andy, and the stereotypes that were attached to this. Now, the flip side of that is, like, for example, with the NASCAR skit from Druski, was he leaning into stereotypes? Yes, he was.
Every act that he does leans on stereotypes.
No matter black or white. I hear you. I agree with you, right? And he's obviously an all equal offender. He offended the black church. He's offended the white rednecks. Now he's offending the conservative white women. He hasn't dressed up like a black woman yet, has he?
Jill, I don't think you're ready for that. It's going to be an hour-long discussion.
If Druski does that, he might as well cancel himself. They going to get him if he does that. But listen, how do you feel about, well, one, this is my thing. Jake, why are you floating it out there? Just do it if you're going to do it. Two, what's the scenario that you want to put up where you feel like you got to be dressed in blackface in order to act it out?
You already know it's going to be very stereotypical. If you
Right.
decided to go
It's
that
only going to be a rapper or some type of hood chick. That's
route. You already
it.
know.
That's it. They don't have any range when it comes to that, right? But what is it you want to do? Maybe you need to go to Druski and try and do a joint one. But he says he doesn't want to punk out. I appreciate that. You don't want to try and get a black stamp of approval. There's no ubiquitous one at this point anyway, Andy.
I'll say this. If he actually did follow through with this idea, I just think that we shouldn't react to it at all. Because that's what he's looking for, a reaction. And if we end up getting upset because he actually does something, then it just gives him the fodder that he actually wants. He's already a polarizing figure.
Attention is currency in 2026.
So let's not give it to him.
Pretty Brown Mimi says Jimmy Kimmel may not have meant to be disrespectful, but it was still blackface and racist in my opinion. And I mean, you are not alone. Most people feel that way. Blackface is not something to be played with, full stop. But I do understand comedy, and I'm kind of torn because I feel like there's some people I would at least be willing to see what they did with it, and there's others that I don't think should touch it. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. We got a phone call coming. So, welcome in Fahima from D.C. Fahima, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, a couple of things. So, what Druski did is protected speech under the First Amendment. Satire and parody is protected speech under the Constitution. But this guy is looking for a skit where he can do blackface, juxtaposed to this skit that Druski did, and this parody Druski did. He used the makeup to enhance the character. So these clowns, and I'm calling them clowns because they're talking about getting some Charles Barkley or someone to justify it. You know, the thing is they're talking about, I want to do blackface. Now, let's find the context to do so. So obviously they aren't meaning well. And, you know, the other piece, Jimmy Kimmel did apologize for doing the blackface. And I'm not excusing it, but he did apologize. But what Druski did, as Andy said, he's an equal opportunity offender, and it was parody, it was satire. He used the makeup because Erica Kirk is a white woman, and the fact of the matter is the racist stuff her husband said was equally as offensive. But the Constitution gives people a right to say certain things.
Indeed it does. Thank you, Fahima. When we come forward, we're going to get into Ye got the people upset again. I want to hear your thoughts on that. And we might have time to get a little bit more into Gino and Don. We'll see. But all of that and more when we come forward.
Are you ready for the hottest entertainment scoop in Los Angeles? She's bringing you exclusive interviews with today's biggest stars, behind-the-scenes Hollywood insights, and all the entertainment news you need to know. She's breaking down what's trending, what's ending, and what's just beginning in the world of entertainment. You're riding with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
My name is Tyrone Owens, and this is my home for 23 years that burned in the fire. Me and my wife, Charlene, we had this whole yard decorated every year.
This was the house that sparkled throughout the entire neighborhood on all the holidays. It's a community that will never be the same due to the negligence of a utility company. So I am pretty upset about that.
We were nowhere near being able to rebuild with our insurance. It's going to cost $1 million to put your house back up.
I want to get back to that point where we were before the fire. I'm starting to get emotional, but I'll work through it. LA Fire Justice has been wonderful for us. They're just caring people. I mean, we have all faith in them.
Big ups to LA Fire Justice, who's given us hope to rebuild 100%.
Advertisement. Douglas Foster, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey LA, tax money is our money. Let's decide how to spend it together. We deserve investments that actually make our neighborhoods safe, like affordable housing, good jobs, fire prevention and protection, and community support programs. How can we make that happen? Join Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and the Movement for Black Lives for the People's Budget Assembly on April 16th. Together, we'll discuss solutions to problems we're facing and make a plan with fellow Angelinos for a city that works for the people. There'll be food, childcare, and great conversation. It's time to demand a budget that puts the people first. Join us on April 16th at 7 p.m. at BLMLA's Center for Black Power and make your voice heard before the Assembly through the People's Budget Survey. Register today at peoplesbudgetla.com. We'll see you there.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back in. You're locked in with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Point of clarification, it was Jimmy Fallon, not Jimmy Kimmel, that did the blackface when he was on Saturday Night Live and later apologized. Both late night hosts, both comedians, two different men though. Shout out. All right, listen, I almost skipped LeBron. Let's talk about LeBron. Now, LeBron has taken some heat from Stephen A. Smith and some Memphis residents because recently, while he was golfing with what Stephen A. says is white boys, he mentioned that he doesn't like Memphis, that the hotel isn't up to standard, and that the NBA should move the franchise to Nashville. Still in Tennessee, but a different type of city. Now, the people are mad because, one, Memphis is a very black city, and they're like, LeBron, how are you trying to take an asset out of Memphis? You know your words carry weight. Why are you trashing the city? Let's hear really quick what LeBron had to say and then what Stephen A. had to say in response.
Staying at the Hyatt at 41 years old. You think I want to do that? Being in Memphis on a random Thursday. I'm not like the first guy to even talk about it in the NBA. Like, we all like, you guys have to move. Just go over to Nashville. You got Vanderbilt over there. You got the NASCAR. You got a stadium. Don't they got a hockey team too?
Yeah, Predators.
Yeah. Like, they got everything.
Doesn't look like LeBron's going to be on the Grizzlies anytime soon, so Grizzly fans out there.
Yeah, they know. Their only chances in 2003 if they'd have won the lottery to give me that. And I might have pulled a Eli Manning and not showed up
for the games.
So, a little jokey joke. I don't think it was really that big of a deal. You guys know the NBA isn't moving the franchise. You guys know that realistically, him saying that means nothing. But people are still upset. Let's see what Stephen A. had to say.
A bunch of white dudes on a golf course, knowing the cameras are rolling and videoing you, without any regard for what kind of effect that would have on a black populace is problematic. Especially when I don't know if it was your sneakers or whatever it was that you just finished promoting months ago about black history and Martin Luther King and civil rights. I think you wore sneakers or something commemorating all of that. When I spoke about what this city needs in order to look out for the vast majority of its citizens who happen to be black that are living there. I did it right here on the mic and the cameras, with the cameras rolling. Dead serious as hell. Because I ain't trying to let nobody off the hook on that. I wasn't dressed in shorts, lollygagging on a golf course with a bunch of peeps that don't look anything like the folks that reside in Memphis. That's where it was foul. That was my take on it earlier this morning. That is still my take on it today. LeBron wasn't all wrong. LeBron said some very wise and on-point things about that. But other stuff was foul, particularly how flippant he was in saying it without any regard or sensitivity to black folks in Memphis. Especially when he's got his I Promise school in Akron, Ohio, specifically designed to help uplift and improve the lives of black individuals and beyond from impoverished neighborhoods in that area. He clearly has
okay, I'm
sensitivity.
gonna wrap Stephen A. up. I can't take you seriously, Stephen A., because you say stuff all the time that I feel is detrimental and harmful to the black community, but you want your ability to say it and express it and do all of these things. Yeah, I think that sometimes we have to check our own emotional intelligence. I think that, and again, it could just be social media. Maybe these people are bored. But we get so worked up over insignificant things. So what? LeBron doesn't like Memphis. Why do you think it's going to impact what the NBA does with that team? There's still a team in OKC. There's still a team in Utah. I mean, let's be for real. And to his thoughts about Memphis as far as their accommodations and so forth, there are current and former players that were asked to name the worst city to play in, and there were more than a few responses that said Memphis. Katie, Memphis. Derek White, worst hotel but the food was good. Anthony Edwards, rooms be dirty and sheets are stained. Draymond, they had to change hotel because the sprinklers just went off for no reason. Danny Green, not a destination city and not a city that's pretty. Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye, they have a podcast. They said during the playoffs, a player got robbed walking across the street from the hotel to the arena, literally across the street. Desmond Bain, he said his room didn't even have a window. Kenyon Martin said, even I don't feel safe going there. So listen, if it's a stack of players complaining, right, it gives that some context. Bad hotels, safety concerns, ugly road experiences, and a general sense that Memphis has a reputation of not being cool to players. Andy?
And they was already talking about Ja Morant needs new scenery.
Right. But the reality is that franchise, at least right now, is not going anywhere. And I get it. It may hurt your feelings. But why is LeBron not allowed to say he doesn't like a city? That seems ridiculous to me. But people aren't just hearing basketball talk when they hear LeBron say something like that. They're hearing a value judgment on the city and what it represents. And, I understand that, but we got to relax. Listen, we'll get into Kanye tomorrow. But just so you know, people are mad that people like Chloe Bailey, Deion Cole, there's a couple of other names, are showing up for Kanye, but not necessarily these people. In general, people are doing things like canceling Chili because she liked some tweets and maybe donated to Donald Trump. My real question, and maybe we'll have a longer discussion on this tomorrow, are we tired of policing the behavior of our athletes and celebrities? Do we want to just respect them for the talent or whatever it is they gave us? Or is it mandatory that they become a political spokesperson or a representative of their race? Is that required for you to appreciate, not just appreciate, but for you to like and accept a celebrity at this point in time? I understand the stakes are different, but is their political stance enough to make you quit them, support them, or wholeheartedly ignore them? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Listen, and on that note, mind your room, know your history, and maybe not say every thought that comes to mind, I'm Jim Munroe. I'll be back tomorrow with more facts, context, and culture. Coming up next is the voice of reason, Zoe Williams. I'll holla.
Keep calling, hold up, she gon' have to wait on it. VVS diamond dripping on my t-shirt, reach for it, I'ma put your face on it. Rolls Royce truck on the way, cashed out for it, still had to wait on it. Plug around, sitting around down kind, still had to pay for it.
Pack coming in on iPhone, I'ma keep it 30 in my phone. I'ma buy a burger for my shoulder. Did me dirty, ran off on me. Took off. Plug did me dirty, took off on me. Lil' Hilda just folded, got soft on me. I'm from the streets, you gotta pay with your life. I got away with the white, you just like your father, and he was a rat. So that mean he raising the mice, yeah. I had to try through the night, yeah. I put that pack on a flight, yeah. I shot on them the same night. Late in the bush, it was a rainy night. I won't put them on no pedestal edibles. I'm trying to hit them the same night. I put 2 on the same flight. Cooked up 10 bricks in the same pot. I chop up the same Glock. Too many of you got the same watch. Why you compete with me? We are not playing with the same chick. It's murder, no murder for high. And that's been stuck on my mindset. Coming in and the money don't fall. Gotta put stamp on it.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A reward is being offered for information in a deadly shooting at Atlanta's Piedmont Park. Black Mayor Andre Dickens is urging the public to come forward after a 16-year-old girl was killed and another person was injured.
Please